Hello and welcome my fellow sprinkles. My name is Jalot the Dragon and I'm going to introduce you to some of my Kingdom Cup battles I had a couple of days ago with some friends over at a nearby park. So I am from a rural area. Rural. There's not a lot of people here. We're a small little town in nowhere, Wyoming. So there's not a lot of stuff to do. There's not a lot of people around. There's not a lot of PvP players as we have learned and struggled with when it comes to our own kind of tournaments. But luckily we do have a usually dedicated few that gives us quite literally just enough to hold Silph Road PvP tournaments in our area. I am still not as in-depth to PvP as I would like to, where I'm also a college student right now. I am in my home stretch. I got 2 more weeks. Yes. But one of my friends, who also is in charge of running all the PvP tournaments, he's more of your hardcore PvP person, and I'm particularly just a shiny hunter. But this cup I was very confident in, and I did a lot of studying for it, and I just got lucky with the Pokemon that I had were of relevance for this tournament. So I placed second, which is the best I've done so far, even though it wasn't like 4 points. I'm still very proud of it. And I even beat the guy who runs everything, and he's won the last 2 since January straight, so I feel pretty good. I'm going to run you through some of the battles that I did manage to record. I only managed to record them with 2 people, one being my friend Bill Gates, that's his username, and then Tony, who is the person who actually won first place in our tournament. So let's get started. We're immediately going to go right into a battle with Bill Gates here, and I'm going to start off with my Altaria. He is going to start off with his Piloswine, and this isn't the best matchup. It's not exactly what I wanted to start off with, but we're just going to roll with it. I'm mainly using this to charge up some attacks so I can swap in my Blaziken, which I'm going to do right here. He's going to go right ahead and go straight for an attack, and I'm assuming it's Earthquake. So I pull up my shield. It's actually Avalanche. I probably could have taken it, but I wouldn't have liked it. So I'm going to go ahead and keep attacking this guy, and he's going to retreat, which then brings out his Flygon. I have Brave Bird already set up, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it, get some damage on this thing. Use the Brave Bird. Boom, he blocks it. Okay, so now this is also not a situation I want to be used in. I go ahead and just sacrifice my Blaziken. It's not worth it. I want to save this shield for either my Altaria or my Bastiodon that I have hiding behind me. So I go ahead and bring back out my Altaria. This Dragon's Breath is just eating him up. So I go ahead and go on the Dragon Pulse. I managed to get it off. He doesn't shield, which I don't quite understand why, but he's going to bring back out his Piloswine, and my Altaria again just eats that thing right up. So now he brings out a Charizard, which I'm able to then get off a Sky Attack on. Charge that baby up. Boom, he blocks it. Okay, this is honestly an okay situation. I'm go ahead and just let him sacrifice my Altaria. I don't need it. Dragon Claw, boom, there you go. Now Bastiodon. I am in love with this thing. I do not have mine fully powered up, but he is a beauty in my opinion. And boom, right there, he didn't even have to try. He takes the match. So that is 1 win for me against Stevie. Alright, we're going to do another battle against Stevie here. This time I've kind of changed up my team a little bit. I didn't see a lot of these, but I went ahead and started with my Alolan Sandslash, and he goes ahead and starts off with his Piloswine, so I'm okay with this right now. I have the Steel type advantage over him, so we're just going to go ahead and hitting him with Icy Wind. He also apparently brings a Sandslash, so I go ahead and use my Gyro Ball against it. It's not going to be as strong where he also has resistance to it now, where he is also a Steel type, but that did a lot more damage than it probably should have, and now we're just going to keep fighting off one another. I go ahead and just eat this attack. Bad move. He had Bulldoze. So I go ahead and get off another Gyro Ball. that he blocks this one. Yes, he does block this one. And so that is going to be goodbye for my Sand Slash this round. Yep. I want to save my shields. So he uses Bulldoze again. That means he's also going to have to use more energy next time for the next round. So I go ahead and come in with my Altaria, attempting to finish this guy off. And I have a Sky Attack saved. I'm ready. I don't know what he's bringing in next. It is his Piloswine. So I go ahead. He's attacking me. I'm assuming it's Avalanche. So I'm blocking. I was correct in my prediction. And I'm going to go ahead and use Dragon Pulse. And he just chooses not to shield this go around. So we're just going to keep going back and forth. I'm going to Dragon Breath this guy as much as I can. My Altaria is practically gone at this point. But I managed to somehow get this Sky Attack off. I don't know how. I get it off. It eats his last shield, which is more than enough for me. My Altaria goes down, and then boom, out comes back my Bastiodon. Now, if he uses this right, his Flygon could technically get rid of my Bastiodon, but I have a shield. This is what I saved my shield for, and that is why. Stone Edge. So, it's now just a toe-to-toe match, kind of just seeing who can eat each other up first. I go ahead and get my Flamethrower off. He's out of shields at this point, so he has to eat it. And keep going back and forth, keep going back and forth. He's going to go ahead and use a Stone Edge on me. Didn't do as much damage as I personally thought it would be, considering my Bastiodon is not fully powered up, but I ended up just taking down his Flygon anyway. And that was the deciding match. I won 2 against him, so I moved on to the next round. Now, we decided to just have another one just because the other 2 weren't done yet, so I go ahead and bring in what I considered one of my random players in this tournament. Is my Houndoom, which I'm sure you guys saw there for a moment. So right now it's Charizard v Altaria. My Altaria is going to win this match. I'm just eating up his Charizard. I don't go up for the shield. He uses Dragon Claw, which I probably should have predicted, but I just go ahead and take it so I can use my Sky Attack and either eat his shield. I'll eat up one of his shields, or he will just take the damage. He chooses to block. So now we're just fighting again. He's going to go ahead and do another Dragon Claw. I'm just going to let my Altaria go on this one. And down goes my bird. Oh no, my bird is still alive. That's right. And so I now bring out my Houndoom, which I wish I could have got the look on his face because he was not expecting this at all. So it easily took down his Charizard. He now has a Dragonite, and I'm just going to go ahead and foul play and crunch the heck out of this thing. And did you see that? Like, I don't understand how it did that much damage. So now it's just Piloswine versus my Houndoom. Foul play charges up ridiculously fast for some reason. I personally don't understand why, but it's just redundant ridiculous. He blocks it, which was smart. I go ahead and shield because I feel confident at this point. I just kind of want to use my shield. So I go ahead and attack him. I get one more foul play off before this. I go ahead and do it, and he just lets it happen. He allows me to take the win. So this is me versus the guy who wins eventually. This was the deciding round to see who would actually, like, the deciding fight to see who would win this tournament of ours. I lead with my Altaria. He leads with Bastiodon, which is something I had not prepared myself for. So I'm doing the best that I can against this guy. So, and I do my switcheroo. I get out my Blaziken to do as much damage to this thing now as possible. He takes it and he sends out his Lapras, which is definitely not what I want to do. I managed to get off a Brave Bird because I'm stuck at this point. And he just eats it. It does a lot more than I wanted, but it's not enough, and there goes my Blaziken. So I just go ahead and send back out my Altaria. I shield, because I don't know what this thing is at first. I assumed it was Blizzard. It was actually Surf. I probably could have taken it and saved the shield, and that might have saved my butt. But I just go ahead and go with the Sky Attack right here, and I take out his Lapras. So I feel pretty confident at this point, but he brings out his Bastiodon. I didn't realize I already had enough stuff charged, and he has Flamethrower. So I still managed to eat it up, and I just keep going. and I eventually go for the sky attack on him. Blocks it, which is not exactly what I wanted. I know it wouldn't have done a lot of damage in the first place, but I still would have liked any kind of damage. So now it's just V on V with my Bastiodon. I blocked at this point, which I honestly probably shouldn't have done now that I look back at it. I should have just ate it up the first couple times, and it's just Bastiodon-y Bastiodon. I have no more shields remaining, so now I'm going to have to take this flamethrower head on. Again, didn't do as much damage as you would think. My flamethrower did not want to go off for some reason. I keep tapping it, finally goes off, and it's now just a grind at this point. And it's just flamethrower at this point, and it's just trying to see who can get off the winning one first. I don't have any more shields remaining. He doesn't have any more shields remaining, so this takes a while. I end up getting knocked out first. And that is his first secure win against me. Alright, so this is our next battle between me and Tony. I finally learned how to say his name. I always just called him Tone. I didn't know that. He sent out his Lucario. I have my Altaria. So this is where I think I have the upper hand. And I'm trying to essentially scare his... yep, there he goes. There goes his Lucario. I have a Sky Attack save. This Empoleon is not something I was prepared for at all, because we didn't actually get to see each other's teams, where this wasn't a Silph Road counted battle, so we had no idea who was bringing what and when and why. So I go ahead and just try and do the best I can against this Empoleon. I thought he was going to be my biggest threat. I choose not to shield, and that was not smart of me, because I did not know what this Empoleon had. He had Blizzard, he knocks me out. I go ahead and bring out my Blaziken. Again, probably not the smartest move. My brain just assumes Steel, so do as much damage as we can, and as we can see, that was not the best idea. So he brings out his Charizard, and I'm attempting to get off a Brave Bird. I finally managed to get it to work. I'm barely alive. I send it off. He blocks it. And this is in my head where I know I am in trouble. So all I have left is my Bastiodon against Lucario. Hey, Editor Jalot here. So I just actually realized I claimed he still had his Charizard, Empoleon, and Lucario left, so practically his entire team still, when in all actuality he only had his Lucario left. I realized this mistake as I was editing, and kind of realizing that probably recording this audio and video at midnight was not a good idea on my part, and then also trying to edit it. So I just wanted to clarify that he only has his Lucario left, so yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. Charizard, and I think he still has his Empoleon, so I'm screwed, and I understand this at this point. I'm just trying to do as much damage as I can. So he brings back out his Lucario. I have a flamethrower charge, so I just go ahead and set it off. He eats it, which is something I was not expecting at all. However, I did manage to win, because just like then, I didn't realize he had no shields left. And as sure as all of you already know, Lucario without a shield, especially at the end, is bad juju. They are soft, they are squishy, they need that shield to survive. So finally, this is the match that decides it all. I switch it up and go ahead and start with my Sand Slash. He starts up with Bastiodon, which immediately is not the best move set I would have liked to have seen. I just go ahead and try and charge up as much as I can. I get off the Gyro Ball first before he can get off his Flamethrower. I already know he has this, and that terrifies me. So I go ahead and send it off. He eats it, which does a lot more damage than I thought it would. And at this point, I was contemplating. I just kind of gave it to him. I said my Sand Slash did what it needed to, in my opinion. I'm just going to send out my Blaziken. This normally can deal with Bastiodon, but it is clearly not dealing with it right now. I managed to get a Brave Bird charge up, but he gets his Flamethrower off first. I don't know why I shielded, considering I'm also a Fire type. I honestly probably could have eaten it, and so I managed to get my Brave Bird off right after this. and he blocks it. So, more punching, more fighting, more biting, and he's gonna knock out my Blaziken before I can even get another Brave Bird. So I've sent out my last Pokemon, my Bastiodon, against his Bastiodon. As we saw before, I didn't have luck, even though I had more HP last time. I go ahead and eat his Flamethrower this time, though, as I'm a little bit more prepared for it, in my opinion. So I just keep going. I get my Flamethrower off. I go ahead and send it towards him, hoping he doesn't shield it. But I was wrong. He already did. So he was willing to save his Bastiodon, which I don't blame him. At this point, I go ahead and just eat up his Flamethrower again. I'm saving that shield. I don't exactly know why, but I just figured I probably should. So I keep going and going, get another Flamethrower off on him, and I probably should have just saved that Flamethrower for the next Pokemon since he had no more shields at this point. But I just want the Bastiodon gone. I was tired of it. And he brings out his Lapras, and this is where I wish I would have saved my Flamethrower. But he goes ahead and gets off an attack. I block it. I really have no hope at this point now. It's Surf. And I get a Flamethrower off. It does about as much damage as you would expect. And then that's tournament. So I'm still fairly new at this. I don't know much other than those Pokemon for the Kingdom Cup. I am fairly proud of the effort I managed to put in for this tournament. I've already started doing some research and attempting to look at some things for the Nightmare Cup. I plan on getting some practice battles and information on that soon, but other than that, I will see you guys next time. Bye bye, Sprinkledan. Pew.